What is your favorite character?
What is? Who is?
Both. Yes. Is it the Statue of Liberty?
She is the hottest monument we have.
A little mannish.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Pointless Discourse with myself, Hoppocalypse, and S2e14.
Hello, just me, S2e14. The not apocalypse.
My brain just fried for a second. I really did not get enough sleep last night. But I guess before we forget to make the joke, I'll make the joke now. Warnings, there will be spoilers ahead because we are talking about another episode of Gravity Falls.
Is that spoilers or just telling the truth?
Spoiler warning?
Yeah, well,
Spoilers
or
ahead?
sorry,
I said warning, there's spoilers ahead.
I don't know. Look, we're both on the same amount of sleep right now, so you listener, you shut your lips. Thank you, but still.
All I know is that sometimes we remember and sometimes we forget until we're further in the episode. And I figured I'd say that to give you time to pull up a fun fact for us this week.
Well, I didn't. I'm trying to get up to the wiki page, because I forgot what number episode this is. I was right. Hey, do you know characters have weird fingers? Some viewers probably haven't noticed that Dipper and Maple only have 4 fingers, while Stan and Seuss have 5 fingers.
And
But
Ford.
Yeah, but that was the thing. And the weirdest thing is Ford has 6. I'm like, I don't know why that's the weirdest thing. Like,
It's been implied throughout the whole series.
yeah.
What I will say is it weirder that collectively watching cartoons growing up, I always assume characters are only going to have 4 fingers? I feel like more cartoons that I've seen than not usually only have 4-fingered characters.
Yeah. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles only have 3. Because they got 2 big
Nubs.
things. Yeah, and then a thumb. That way they can hold their weapons.
And pizza.
Mm-hmm. Oh, speaking about pizza, I had Wawa's Pizza this week.
I didn't know they had pizza. I knew they had burgers and fries.
Yeah, it just came out. It's okay. I will say, if you're going to get it, pre-order it on the app before you get there, because it is like a 15-minute.
A whole to-do.
Yeah.
Not sponsored.
Yeah, we're not sponsored, so that's why I'm okay saying it was okay. It tasted better the next day cold.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
I've had pizzas like that before.
So, but it's not like a frozen pizza. Like I'm pretty sure the dough is frozen, like in plaques that where they just plop everything on there and throw it in there. But it's not like
It's not pre-made frozen that they just heat up.
Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it's not like fresh dough. But
Yeah. So as a pizza connoisseur, how many pizza slices out of 10 would you rate the pizza?
it's average. It's like a 5.
A 5. Okay.
Yeah.
If you were really hungry and you didn't want to go to a real pizza place, it would be fine.
Yeah, like they're also like they're probably one of the more expensive items on their menu. Where they have a 14 and 16 inch. A 14 inch is about $15, and then a 16 inch is close to $18-19. So
It's comparable with like pizza places though.
yeah. But if you're the only one eating, it is a pretty decent size, though. So it's like, with that price, it's like, if you're sharing it with somebody, yeah, that could work. Mm-hmm. But it's like, if you're going to Wawa, it's just, I don't know. If it's not 4 o'clock, like, if it is 4 o'clock, I don't know. I think their chicken sandwiches and burgers are probably a better way to go, and plus you don't have to wait.
I always just get chicken strip hokies. That's my go-to.
Those are good, too. It's, They got a lot of good things, and it's like, funny enough, I remember like they said they were gonna eventually add pizza to their menu back in 2008 or 9. I remember them talking about it, and now so many years later. I can't math.
15 years.
Yeah. There was a lot of time in the...
A lot of test kitchens.
Yeah. And then again, like, so many Wawas, like, to make sure that they had the probably the right oven to stick in there to do it, and all the
best
fun.
The best way to ship it out in a corporate level.
Yeah.
I would hate to see one of those Wawa trucks full of food get into any kind of accident. You just have bags of mac and cheese, frozen tenders, now pizza dough and burgers just spread across the highway.
Just
bags of soup.
It looks like the end of Akira. It's moving. Leave me alone. That's such a fun meme.
It's a good format.
I said that to my brother when my niece was like going nuts, and he just started laughing. But yeah. So, now it's so wait, this episode, I don't know when this episode comes out, but I think there are a couple announcements that I just realized that we never said, and so we're not sure when this will happen, so it might come out before this episode airs. We're not 100% sure, but there are a few things that there's one big thing that is coming out, and so with my Charity Palooza stream, we raise enough money so that way Hop and I will be doing our bonus. I keep calling it the book fair.
We can call it whatever we want. I actually have a book that I got per recommendation of Bookstagram next to me. Maybe this is what I'll talk about when we get to meet on that.
Well, if we wanted to show off Stephen King, I won't be finishing this book by the time we do.
What book is that?
The Shining.
If this is the same exact print, look at the menus. It's so fun. And the fonts are identical. This is a collection of short stories that I have. I liked the first short story. It was very Lovecraftian.
Lovecraftian?
Lovecraftian. To the point where he starts shouting Yog-Sothoth.
Oh. This is a collection of one story. And I'm pretty sure most of the people know.
And it's much thicker than mine, isn't it? Not too much.
It's about... Hold up. It's got... Okay, no. I had to be careful because this came out when Dr. Sleep was getting released. So it has like an excerpt of Dr. Sleep. Yeah, it's about 660 pages.
Yeah, 505.
Yeah.
And this one has, I think, 20 short stories.
This one has one long story. Oh no, it's not getting back in the spot. Dune would fight for dominance there.
Very Dune.
Yeah, it's like, this is my spot. But no.
Oh, funnily, so I'm going to say this little excerpt about Dune. My friend and I started a Discord for the book club that we're running, and someone asked, is Dune worth reading? Like, what's it like? And my description I gave, I could probably find it if I really wanted to, but I essentially, oh, actually, you know what? Discord is a thing on my computer. I can look at what I said.
It's right there.
Well, I didn't know how far up I'd have to scroll.
Okay.
So I said, I've read the first Dune, and it's interesting if you like a lot of fancy people being messy and talking about things in really dragged out ways.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, somebody else said it was like, you'll like it if you like the original Star Wars trilogy, and I don't see that, personally. I feel like Star Wars has a lot more action.
I feel like you can see where Star Wars gets inspiration from, because Dune came out before, and so it's in reading Dune and a couple of the other ones, there's a lot of things that I feel like you can see where a lot of space traveling science fiction, where they get their where it was like kind of originated and stuff. oh my goodness, I just was scrolling through, and there's this thing called How to Read the Dune book series in order. 25 books with no obvious roadmap. And I'm like, there's 25 of these suckers?
Yeah, I can't remember how many, but I think only the first handful are by Frank Herbert.
Yeah, and then the rest are by his son.
Yeah, and then I think there's another author that came in to help with towards the end. Yeah. Or I could be thinking of Wheel of Time. Wheel of Time is also a lot of books.
There's a picture that I saw, and I don't know where I can find it, where it was like, but it took like the Herbert, I almost said Herbert Hoover, the Frank Herbert books, and it's like each like kind of thing, like it has its own, like it split them up to like, this is what this book is covering, but I'm like I wrote it and I'm like, I'm not able to like find
search it.
Yeah, because I saw it like years ago, but it was like, it goes like dealing with like politics, and then because like the second book is pretty interesting, and I think the third one as well.
I should find my copy to show you that I took it very seriously because the movie was coming out. So I was like, I'm gonna put a bunch of tabs throughout this book.
You showed me your tabs, I think, once.
Yeah,
or
but
twice.
For the podcast, I mean,
we
have a video format. But yeah, for the audience, to show you how many tabs, because I was like, oh, this is in capital letters. This must be referenced later, and I'm gonna forget what this is if I don't put a mark. And I got to the end of the first book, and I was like, there were so many wars, so many planets, so many other races, so many other civilizations, and it ends on, hey, get mowed? I was like, why did the world building in this, cool, I appreciate it, but also at the same time, can I have some satisfaction from the world building, please?
Yeah. So I think the first one is a lot of setup, obviously, and then like the second and third one is a lot of like political like themes. And
the first one felt very political.
Yeah, so. I think it's like the first and second are very political, and then like it kind of like the way it goes is like it goes into like this like covering religion. And
which makes sense. There are a lot of hints to two major religions in the first book.
Mm-hmm.
Did I tell you my experience? So I had Dune sitting out on like a couch or a chair or something when I had a HVAC repairman come by, and he saw that I had the book. He was like, I'm thinking of reading the book because I watched the movie and I understood everything that happened in the movie. And I looked him in the eyes and almost said, you are a liar. They cut out so much. Like, the movie to me feels like a Spark Notes of the book.
Yeah. I still haven't watched the movie.
I think the movie is, for me, having read the book first, I think it's a fun watch for you to remember the stuff that happens in the book. But there's a lot of parts that I really like about characters that help build them up to be complex that they didn't include in the movie. And I understand the movies, you can only make them so long. Yeah. But it's like, I think they planned 3 movies for the first book at that. With how much they cut for certain characters, I wouldn't have minded if they pulled it out to like 5 movies. Because I had Strider next to me going, why is she saying these things? I'm like, okay, so when it comes to, what's her name? Is it like Jessica?
His mom?
Yeah. I was like,
Lady Jessica.
I was like, Lady Jessica is such a cool character, and you're getting nothing. All you're getting from her is, don't do that, son. And he's like, why is she being mean? Why is she acting like she's so smart? I'm like, because she is, and they didn't tell you in the movie that she's a very smart and well-trained lady.
Like, I haven't watched the movie, but it's just like so much of the book is focused on Paul, and like, which rightfully so, but it's like sometimes it's like, dude, his parents were like bosses.
Like, yeah, like they don't talk about the dad for a long time in the first book, really, I don't think. But no, his mom, like, they talk about everything she had to go through to even be allowed to talk to his father in the first place. And I was like, it's really cool. And she has her own like side plot and like own little like sneaky stuff. And then in the movie, she's just like, Paul, no. I'm like, it doesn't make sense without.
Yeah. Well, I think in the movie that was done in the 80s, Dakota, is that who Aquaman is playing in the new one? In the new movie? I'm pretty sure his name is Dakota. The one that's training Paul.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Sorry. You confused me when you said Aquaman is acting in the movie, and I was thinking of a blonde Aquaman, not of the modern Aquaman.
Yeah.
Not Jason Momoa.
Yeah, I was like, I completely blanked on his name. But he, but he plays Dakota, right? In the...
I did not watch the Is he in the first one, or is he just going to be in the second movie?
I thought...
he was in it for a very short time in the first movie. I think the main part they show with Dakota is like maybe a sprinkling of training, and then the part where they're like, Paul, run! I protect you.
I'm just going to the IMDb. Oh, Idaho. That's his name. Yeah, I got the wrong...
Different state.
Different state. Yeah. So, Idaho. Duncan, Idaho.
Yeah, they basically used him to show off like the shield technology in the movie, and then they didn't really like add too much to him in the first movie, if I remember correctly.
No problem. I got the actors mixed up. It's a different person. Who's...
I know Jason Momoa is supposed to be in them, right?
No, he is. I'm looking at the 1984 one.
Oh, okay.
Because there's so many stupid actors in this. Where's the one I'm looking for? Yeah, there we go. So, hold on. Josh Brolin is Gurney Halleck. Mm-hmm. I'm blank. Yeah, shoot, I'm forgetting who. I know he was like an important. I think he was like one of the other like kind of like just super tough dudes that was just around. And so like I don't know what like Josh Brolin's a pretty like I don't know he's well he worked out, but it's funny because in 1984 the person that plays that Gurney Halleck is Patrick Stewart, and I think Halleck is the one that's training him. Duncan Idaho is like the guard, like he's the super like not the super soldier, but he's like a highly trained like kind of soldier if I remember.
Oh
correctly.
right, yeah, because
I was getting them mixed up.
I was trying to remember because like on the wiki it just says Halleck is a talented minstrel, and I was like, I do remember that being important, but I couldn't remember what his role was Paul. I just remember everyone going, go play your music in the corner, and he's like, I do more than play music, and I was like, but I couldn't remember his
yeah, he was the one
roles.
I believe he was like the one training Paul to like fight, and he was like telling him slow through shields.
Oh, right.
So, but then again, it was a while ago since I read it. So, anyway, that's something.
Is Paul's
different.
weapons teacher and a chief officer, and is swordmaster of House Atreides.
Yeah. So a nerd. But anyway, who knows? But yeah, this all started off of we don't know how this is gonna work of like book stuff. Hop has a lot more practice at talking about books, but we'll see what happens. I don't know if we're gonna talk about like a couple that we read or whatever, but hey, when that comes out, if you all like that bonus episode and like let us know, and then who knows, maybe every once in a while we can do another one if schedules allow. I'm not committing. I'm really good at committing to things and then me like realizing later like, oh my gosh,
my calendar, it's full.
Yeah, that's why I'm already this will not be a surprise for Hop, but I'm already like looking at next year's content calendar for me and being like, I need to change things. So so we'll see what happens.
Yes, so I know what I guess another quick announcement is we have been in the talks with some we're starting to talk to guests about the next set of content that we have planned throughout Halloween, and
and Thanksgiving
and we
Christmas.
we narrowed down the list too
Yes.
of all potential things we could be watching. So that is in the works and should be fun and will be entirely different because we will not be doing a series for the first time in a while.
Yeah, it's very much. If you guys liked the Christmas stuff where we watched a whole bunch of Christmas movies, it would kind of be
Halloween. Not this past Halloween though, because
Yeah.
we did the Alien vs Predator, but like our
I-
bracket.
I'm excited for this because we're getting into content that neither of us have watched before, or if we watched some of these, we don't remember. And so
I haven't watched any of these.
Yeah. And it's like, I don't know. There's a part of me that's like excited to like discuss things that we literally haven't watched. And like it's not that I'm like not enjoying talking about Gravity Falls. It's definitely fun and everything, but there's like a part of me that's like, it would be interesting if one of us didn't watch Gravity Falls and one person did, and just hear the crazy nonsense theories that the non-person watched. You know what, Hop? You watch a lot more TV than I do. So if we're gonna do another series, I'll let you choose the one, and I'll make sure I don't watch it beforehand, and I will just watch it for the show.
It is a shame you watched Erased on my recommendation.
Yeah,
That would have been fantastic.
It would have been amazing. It's like the only modern day anime that I like now. That would have been really good.
There's a couple other mystery thriller animes that I've been meaning to get around to watching. Maybe I'll catch up on them and then I'll see if one of them's a good contender. But that'll be a while from now. But in any case,
we're on a time crunch again.
What I'm going to say is I'm going to announce that we're total nerds who like having pretty dice. I don't know if you have pretty dice near you right now.
I have old die. I lost my giant die. I don't know where it is.
I feel like I couldn't get this to focus last time we recorded, so I'm not going to have luck now. But it's a dice full of bunnies that someone gifted to me because people are good people. But yeah, we roll dice because like I said, we're nerds. We do a lot of role-playing games. Itisdpayne makes content for quite a few different ones. Or is it all Call of Cthulhu now?
No, it's a few. Like, right now, I think when we're recording this, Blades in the Dark is finishing up. I'm recording Traveler. We do a lot of Call of Cthulhu, Pathfinder. I want to do Morkbore. It should be fun. I don't know. I do a lot because I have the attention span of a sugar high toddler.
Okay, so I run D&D campaigns, but I don't make content for them anymore because I don't stream anymore. Someone randomly messaged me on Steam the other day while I was playing games, like, "Oh, boo-hoo, you don't stream?" I was like, "Oh, you're a bit late to the game." But this is me proving that I'm rolling the dice. And okay, I rolled.
I think you're going to be doing this one.
I rolled a 17. Again,
I rolled
focus.
a 2.
I feel like I haven't done an episode in a while, so
about
works.
3 weeks.
Yeah, it's been me,
it's
and then 3, and then me, 2, me, 3.
It's been 3 weeks since we heard from Hop.
All right.
Which means everyone, this episode will be under an hour.
I don't know. We did chat for over 20 minutes already.
I made sure that we.
Oh, you're filling in the.
Yeah, fill in our whatever.
Our pretend quota for time.
Yes. Yeah. No,
it's like on YouTube. I was gonna say it's like on YouTube where your video has to be so long to get ads, so everybody's videos are like
10 minutes.
Yeah. But yes. So, do you have anything else you wanted to bring up before I jump into the episode?
Nah.
Okay. I offered. So
I thought of something. We'll let you finish, but.
So this episode of Gravity Falls, we open up with a perspective we haven't really had in a while, which is it's focused completely on Grunkle Stan in the very beginning, and also in a very relatable way, where the first thing he says, he opens his eyes and goes, "All right, another day, another random body pain." And he prepares to get up, but when he goes on to put on his slippers, he finds that they're like soaked in milk, and he's so confused, and as I would be. And there's just a note that says, it's doodled by Mabel that explains that she needed something to carry her milk in, so she used his slippers and says, "I'm sorry." And then he's like sloshing around, and he goes to turn on the light in the kitchen, and the light bulb explodes, and he looks around and sees where the light bulbs are so he can replace them. And in there's another note that falls out because it's empty from Dipper, where he had to make a planetarium suit for Seuss and just a little sorry underneath. And there's the doodle there where it just looks like Seuss in like a black latex suit covered in light bulbs. So Grunkle Stan, very grumpy. I don't blame him because his day's just starting and now he's already stuck with all these chores and literally got off on the wrong side of the bed. He finds himself in the grocery store, and the usual group of teenagers, which is like Robbie and his friends, end up behind him, and they're like making fun of him for being so old, saying he's gonna pay for his light bulbs and pennies and war bonds. To which Stan turns around and goes, "I'll have you know, I was going to shoplift most of this." To which the cashier, of course, heard and calls security. So he gets dragged away. And he proceeds to throw a smoke bomb on the floor that says that it expired. And it doesn't work. And then they 96. Tackle him. Yeah. So he's coming home bruised. And he finally has this box of light bulbs. And he walks into the kitchen. And he says that it's all going to be worth it. But then he sees that Ford has gone ahead and started replacing the light bulb, and everybody is cheering, calling him a hero. And Stan's like, "I thought we were out of light bulbs." And he's like, "Oh, yeah, we were. So I invented my own. It lasts 1,000 years, and it makes your skin softer."
It's a moisturizer light.
Yeah. And everyone starts admiring it. And Ford's like, "Where were you?" So Stan immediately, disgruntled by everything, throws the light bulbs in the trash can. And decides to just go sit by the TV, and it's like, "All right, give me some good news today, news. Don't let me down." And he turns it on, and it immediately goes, "Breaking news. The mayor is dead." And we find out the mayor, Eustace Huckabone Befuddlefumpter. We find out he was raised by bears, could have started World War I, and his only other notable achievement in his life was putting Gideon away in adult prison. Not kid prison.
Yeah.
Or juvie, I should say. But...
I laughed when that line said, "Responsible for getting away to adult prison." I'm like, oh, okay. The 6-year-old or whatever.
Then they show that they're basically making him a Mount Rushmore like embodiment on the side of a thing. And Chandra, the news reporter that Toby has been having a crush on this entire time, starts crying. And the co-host is like, "Why are you crying?" She's like, "I finally have real news." I'm so happy. And then they start explaining that there's going to be a town hall discussion to figure out how they're going to replace him. And Stan gets the look on his eyes. There's like a reflection of him on the TV with the American flag. He's like, "A new mayor? And you can see him already begin to plot. So, theme song. Then it cuts to them being at town hall. Sheriff Blubbs calls everybody to order and pulls out the town charter, which is so old that it's just like bats fly out of it when he unfurls it.
I was laughing pretty good at the beginning of this episode. It was just the bats like, "I'm free."
And then it explains that a worthy candidate is defined as anyone who can cast a shadow, count to 10, and throw their hat into the provided ring. So Deputy Derlin throws down like a hula hoop, and a hat immediately ends up in the ring. And they look around and they find out it's Bud Gleeful. And Bud says like, "Oh, I believe I meet these requirements." To which Dipper and Mabel are like, "Wait a second." And Mabel's like, "Well, he looks pretty good since we sent his son to jail." And Stan is like, "That was a good day." But yeah, so Bud explains that like his families might have had their own mistakes in the past, fair share of whoopsie daisies. And says that he'd like to make up for it by announcing his candidacy for mayor of Gravity Falls. And Toby, determined, immediately asks him, "Do you still have contact with your son?" And Bud goes, "That's a great question. How about I give you 50% off a used car?" And Toby like foams at the mouth. He's like, 50%! And rips his notepad in half. And then Bud goes full Oprah and goes, "Actually, I have 50% off for you, and you, and you. Everyone check underneath your seats." And Mabel pulls it out and is like, "Ooh, colorful piece of paper." And when you look at it, it just says Bud's 50% off used car, like, discount. And it's throughout the entire room. And Seuss is like, "It's not like we have a lot of good mayor options. Everyone in this town is a tad strange, except ironically, Tad Strange. I forgot to mention, Dipper mentions he has a bad feeling that Bud wants to become mayor all of a sudden, to which... that's why s2e makes the comment about Tad Strange. And we turn around and we see the most bland example of a human being. He has perfect hair, a perfect smile, and is wearing a white shirt and black tie and black slacks, and goes, "Hello."
Hi guys, Tad's the name. Being normal's my game.
And Mabel's like, "Loving you, Tad."
I love bread.
And then Dipper explains that it's a shame that Ford isn't going to participate because he could totally run and win and be a great mayor. And it cuts to Bud saying that you know what? How about we just call the oath here and I'll be mayor? To which Stan throws his hat in the ring, or his fez specifically, and says that he's going to take him on because clearly Stan is upsetty at Ford.
Just
naturally, so just a little bit. And Bud is like, "No offense, but you're just some 2-bit carnival barker, and your head has more ears than face." And Stan is like, "Oh, well, yeah, your face is more fat than not fat." And everybody in the room, gasps.
And then Tad, "Oh, snap."
So then Stan's like, "How about we have an actual real election?" To which everybody throws their hats in. And Bud's like, "Well, looks like we're going to have a competition here." And then he leans forward to whisper into Stan's ear to say, "I was going to let it be, but I'll win. And when I do, you might not like the Gravity Falls that you see in its place afterwards," and pretends to punch out a circle for where Gravity Falls is on the map. And Dipper and Mabel seem to be the only ones to think it's shocking.
Yeah, that should have ended everything right there for him.
But everybody's too excited about election and is chanting election. To which Blubs fires a cannon to say, "Let the madness begin." And Mabel starts to question Grunkle Stan, "Are you actually doing this?" He's like, "Well, yeah, I'm gonna run for mayor." And her and Dipper are like, "I don't know, is it gonna be fine?" To which Dipper just straight out admits, "We don't think you can do this." Mm-hmm. And Stan says that he's not getting any younger, and his dumb brother's research is probably going to make him famous anyway. So he's like, "What if I don't end my life being a crooked grifter on my tombstone? How about I be a crooked mayor instead?" And Dipper pulls Mabel aside and is like, "Look, Stan isn't the best candidate, but and in fact, he's actually committing voter fraud right now." And they scan over, and he has wads that just say "Stan," stuffing them into a box. As I hit my mic. Oops.
Oh, I didn't hear it. But okay. Audacity might.
Audacity might.
It hears everything.
But Dipper decides that it's up to him and Mabel to stop Bud from at least winning mayor, in hopes to keep whatever bad vibes out of the way. And Mabel agrees. She says that Stan has a certain kind of charisma, so, it can't be that hard to get him elected. And they decide to put on some Vote Stan campaign stickers and, decorate themselves up already. So then we have, it cuts off to where it looks like they're doing full campaign mode for Stan. They have banners, everybody's dressed up in Vote Stan gear, where you even have, I think, Wendy, Candy, and everybody's all set up in the living room starting to get stuff set up. And oh yeah, the part I liked is Wendy wrote on Waddle's body, "Swines for Pines," and Bud's a dud on the other side of Waddle's, and she's like, "All right, go spread the word," as he goes running out of there. But Dipper walks into the room getting ready to explain everything to everybody. He unrolls his own scroll that is also as old because it's a bunch of dust comes off of it. And he explains that Gravity Falls elections are based on 2 events. There's a stump speech held on an actual stump. And then there's the Friday debate, where townsfolk throw birdseed at the candidate they like most. And at the end, they release a freedom eagle who will fly to the candidate covered in more seed and bestow a birdly kiss upon him, anointing him mayor. And he shows them, and there's illustrations for all of this in high detail. And he starts to roll up the paper and goes, "I could not make this up even if I wanted to."
I think more people would watch the election.
if they had a chance to participate like that.
To be fair, everybody, I think it would probably help a lot of people fill in the thing that so many people was like, not enough young people are voting, and it's like, shut up. Make it worth it.
Yeah. So after Dipper discusses like what they have to do to get him elected to be mayor, the phone starts to ring, and Mabel's like, oh, are you ready for your phone interview? And Stan's like, well, I got a mouth, don't I? Like, already starting out very sassy.
Mm-hmm.
And so then Mabel starts setting up the phone for him, and we scan to a bunch of people listening to radios, where the radio announces that they're listening to Falls Radio, 24-hour news, and bear rampage alerts. And now here's the T-Man. So then Toby begins asking questions, and his first question is, how do you feel about the American flag? To which Stan says, take it or leave it. Too many stripes. To which they scan to a bunch of people at a bar looking at the American flag, getting very disgruntled at his answer.
The skull fracture.
Then Toby goes, what will you do to help educate our kids? And Stan goes, put them on an island, make them fight for dominance. And the family's already freaking out at this, like in shock and awe with kids around, and goes, oh, and teach them swears. It'll bring them into the real world. So then Dipper and Mabel are looking at each other worried as the interview is going on.
Stan is pro Battle Royale. Okay.
Yeah, he believes in Fortnite in real life. Then Toby goes, what would you do about crime in Gravity Falls? To which Stan goes, like, crime in general, or the crimes I've specifically? And then before he can finish his sentence, they pull the phone line out so that he can't finish the call. Or no, sorry. Dipper cuts the line with scissors. And Dipper's like, all right, interview's over. Candy, what's the damage? And Candy goes, he started out with a 0 approval rating, and now it is a number lower than 0. And she shows a bar graph where he's, like, just in the red. And Wendy says, you're memeing fast, but none of them are good. And she's scrolling through, like, different sets of memes. And it's Stan going, one does not simply teach kids to swear, in the format of the one guy from Lord of the Rings. But I don't remember people's names.
Bolmir.
Yeah. So then Mabel tries to put it on nicely and go, you know what? People are like smell markers, and out of all the smells, you're black licorice, and it's that you're unsniffable. It's just you gotta learn to keep the cap on. And Dipper hands him over like speech notes that are like doodled by Dipper and Mabel, and says, why don't you just read our prepared remarks from now on? To where Stan says, like, he's always going to say whatever comes to his brain. So if his head thinks, wow, that's an ugly baby, he's going to say, whoa, lady, you got one ugly baby. And of course, they naturally get really worried. And you see Dipper ends up in the basement talking to Ford, trying to vent to him and figure out what to do for him. So Dipper's like, no matter what we do, he just wants to speak his mind. And Ford's like, oh, it is an emergency. So Dipper's explaining that they're going to lose the stump speech against Bud, because it's clear that they can't get Stan to talk in a way that's like for the people. So Ford says, well, it's a shame there isn't some device that would allow you to control someone else. Oh, of course there's one. And he brings out a striped tie that's like red, white, and blue and striped with a button in the middle. And he explains that a long time ago he designed this for a prototype for Ronald Reagan's Masters. And said that if you can get Stan to wear it, it essentially talks him to a literal talking head. And Dipper is like, this is amazing. And he looks inside, and there's all these electronics inside the tie, and ethically ambiguous. So Ford explains, if you wear the matching tie, he'll say and do whatever you want him to. And Dipper thanks him. And Ford's like, yeah, just use it responsibly, and, all of that jazz. Mm-hmm. So they go ahead and start testing out the tie, and they give it to s2e. And s2e is like, wow, this is such a cool tie. The stripes are so slimming. And Mabel's like, do you really think this will work? So Dipper takes it, and he flips the switch and puts it on Mabel. Mabel starts singing and dancing and forcing s2e to do the same exact thing. And as soon as she turns it off, s2e starts sweating and panting and freaking out. And Mabel's like, wow, this is so fun. And s2e's like, guys, I don't know what just happened, but I'm freaking out. To which Mabel does it again. She turns it back on and goes, basically does like the robot and forces him to eat a pine cone. And s2e is stuck eating one. And s2e, when they turn it off, collapses. Mabel's like, yeah, I love mind control. It's so awesome. And s2e is like, my life just flashed before my eyes.
Probably the most realistic reaction to mind control. No one wants to cover that. It's like, oh, you just don't remember it.
So then we start to see that it's zoomed forward to the day of the stump speech. And we have Tyler Cutebiker, education, get it. Prosperity, get it. Gravity Falls we can be proud of, get it. To which everybody starts applauding. And Stan is now wearing the one tie, and it says, like, it looks like a flag robe on me. Do I really have to wear this? And Mabel's like, oh, it's your lucky tie. You need to wear it. So they announce that Stan is meant to take the stage, and they say that they'll only take over if it looks like he needs help. And Stan immediately opens with, hiya there, Stan Pine's here, let's get real. Do you think the women of Gravity Falls wear too much makeup? And Dipper's like, oh, go, fix it.
Jump in.
So Mabel puts it on, and Stan immediately goes, what I meant to say was, you ladies all look great, and you have done something with your hair. You are working it. And all the women are like, oh, that's what I needed to hear right now. And then he wipes his forehead because we saw s2e get all sweaty after using it. And he says, I'm Sam Pines. You may know me as the guy who accidentally let all those bees loose in the elementary school a few years back. To which Dipper immediately steals the tie from Mabel, puts it on, and goes, but I believe in things. America. Freedom. Freedom. And there's a guy in like an America outfit. It's like, good, he's saying all the right things.
His eyes are tearing up.
Dipper, as Stan, continues with, like my opponent pointed out, I may not have a pretty face, but if you want a candidate that will listen to you, well, I'm proud to say I'm all ears. So everybody cheers because it's like, you know, a pun and stuff. And then Mabel takes control of Stan next and goes, now watch me break it down, and forces him to break dance, which I imagine's gotta hurt so bad in post for him.
Oh, he seemed pretty fine.
But yeah, so afterwards he seems really confused getting off the stage, and Mabel is proud of him for how it went, and s2e is like, how'd you do it? And Stan is like, you know what, I don't know, I kind of just opened my mouth and spoke from my heart, or like my gut or something. And what does that sound? Why are people like jamming their hands together? Mabel's like, they're clapping, it's applause. They love you. I love the implication that him in his old age is like, what is that noise? I've never heard it before.
Well, like he there's a couple times when like people are like happy that like at the end of season 1, like he's like, why is everyone like so accepting of me? Like he's just like, he's so used to like constantly being like hated on, yelled at, arrested, that like when people are like cheering and like supporting and like happy for him, he's like, I don't understand what is happening.
But yeah, so Stan goes, they love me? And the crowd is chanting Stan, and America guy rips off his shirt to show off his bald eagle tattoo, like full America. And Toby asks if they can get a picture together. So Dipper, Mabel, Stan, and s2e say, yes, we stan, you know, slogans. So then they have the whole...
We heard worse slogans in our lifetime.
This is true. But yeah, so then they go ahead and do a montage of them mind controlling Stan, and that it says that like he's really getting the town support and he's really taking the lead for all of the polls. And Bud sees this in the newspaper and is getting visibly frustrated, and he curses in his own way. It goes, doggone it, gosh heck, huckleberry, honeysuckle, darn it. It goes, excuse my language.
Sorry, everyone. Please forgive Hop and her potty mouth. Oh, my goodness.
Look, we got to teach the kids swears.
Oh, my gosh. Let's do it.
But yeah, so then Bud says that he needs to go speak to his campaign manager, and excuses himself from the room and apologizes to the person on the other side, saying he'll still find a way to win it. And the camera shows that he's been just talking to Gideon this whole time. And Gideon, even in prison, is yelling at his father the same way as he always has, like saying, it's not working. A minor setback.
And it's working. Talk about charisma.
I know. And he says that, like prison is a nightmare. He goes, I eat the same slop every day. They have no hair products in here. I can't sleep because my cellmate took my pillow for our wife. You think I've been having fun in here? To which some of his friends that he's made go, hey, best friends, don't be late for friendship bracelet making class. And Gideon's like, I have finger painting at the same time.
Oh.
So, yeah, and then Gideon explains that the mayor dying is his one-way ticket out of the prison, so his dad needs to win this election and not let the Pines get in their way again. So Bud's like, it's like magic. He's like just winning at all the polls. So Gideon's like, magic? And Gideon's like, I've been saving this one for a while, and pulls out a page, clearly from the journal ripped out. And it's a possession incantation. And Bud's like, no, we said no more of that stuff. And Gideon is already like, you know what, you just need to keep an open mind, and immediately starts reading the spell without listening to his dad any further. And his eyes start to glow, which is always a sign of magic happening in this show. Mm-hmm. And Bud is like freaking out. He's like, no, stop that. And then anything but that. And he starts grabbing his head and freaking out, and his eyes also glow, and he starts to scream. Then it jumps to election day, and Bubs is complimenting Stan, saying, oh, looking good, mayor candidate. Complete 180 from how they were treating him when he first said he was going to run for mayor. And everyone's cheering him on. Even Tad, looking A-okay there, Stan. A-okay. And Stan's like, that means so much coming from you, Tad. And everybody's cheering on for Stan. And he's walking to the diner, and he goes, now just the ladies. And then all the women in the diner say Stan. He goes, all right, now just the ladies my age. And there's one old lady. Stan! And he goes, oh, never mind. So Stan basically is like loving the fact that he's getting positive attention from people, and hasn't really connected that something else might be taking him over to pull this off. But he decides he's not wearing his tie today, and Mabel's like, no, you need your lucky tie. And Dipper's like, yeah, it's your like power tie. People love you because you wear it. And he's like, no, there's no way I could ruin how well I'm doing in the polls. I can do this all on my own. And Mabel and Dipper get like really like nervous about it. They're like, no, you gotta like put on the suit and the tie, and you need the whole thing. Everyone, this is how it works. And Stan's like, what do you kids have to constantly tell me what to do? Or why do you have to tell me everything to do? Everyone in the town finally is showing him respect, and he's like, maybe you kids should show me respect too. Mm-hmm. And Dipper starts to get angry. He's like, we'd respect you if you took things seriously. And Stan's like, I am. If you haven't noticed, everything that comes out of my mouth is golden. We're right to the top. I'm done with your dumb advice.
I'm a golden god.
Yeah. So then Dipper admits that Mabel and Dipper have been controlling him from every speech. And Stan's like, what are you saying right now? And Dipper shows like the tie that Ford made as a mind control device, and explains and says that if it wasn't for the tie, he'd be losing all the polls, and shows all the circuitry behind it. And Stan, very upset, and rightfully so, says like, oh, well, you can tell know-it-all 4 that he can keep his fancy light bulbs and magic ties. I'm going to win this on my own without any of you. And goes to leave. And Dipper's like, oh, this is bad. If we want to beat Bud, we need to find another candidate fast. To which Mabel's like, what we need is a blank slate, someone totally suggestible, an empty piece of clay we can mold to our whims. And always on cue, Seuss walks out and complains that he got his head stuck in a shirt sleeve, and assumes this is his life now. And there's no other options for him.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So then they have the mayor's memorial that then shows them heading to the stage for election day. America Dude has his bird seed and is like, bird seed here, support your favorite candidate by throwing election seed. And so Chandra begins giving the news on the situation, and says that on a cosmic scale, this is going to be a forgettable blip in human history. And here come the 3 most popular candidates, to which we have Bud Gleeful, and then we have Stan. Oh, and Bud starts to act very different, where he starts using teehees. Mm-hmm. Much like somebody else we've seen in the show. Because Stan is like, don't tee-hee me. I'll debate you into the ground. And then Bud says, oh, but I have a whittled twig up my sweevy weevies. And Stan's like, ew, you're making me uncomfortable.
Rightfully so.
Yeah. And Chandra says, like, oh, what's this? We have a new candidate that's just entered the ring. And Stan looks over and sees that it's s2e, and he goes, oh, those backstabbing. Chandra goes, let the debate begin. So Manly Dan walks up with his little cue card and his microphone and goes, first question, what's your position on taxes? Mm-hmm. And Stan goes, taxes are the worst. I propose we stimulate the economy by waging wars on neighboring cities. We have the cannons. Mm-hmm. And he starts to freak out and look at his cue cards. s2e explains that he doesn't know much about taxes, but he can promise a kitten in every pot. Then you can tell Dipper and Mabel are fighting, because then s2e goes, that doesn't make any sense, Mabel. You don't make sense. And then Bud goes, friends, can't you see what's happening on the stage? These politicians are dancing around the issues. Well, I can sing around the issue. And he reveals like a very colorful, sparkly outfit underneath and grabs a guitar and starts to sing about how crime is bad. Vote for Bud and there ain't gonna be no crime, because crime's bad. And Chandra's like, now throw your bird seed. And everybody throws it into Bud's box. And they take an intermission. And Dipper's like, when has Bud gotten creepily adorable? And Dipper's like, he's almost acting just like... And Gideon talks through that... Gideon comes through. Little old me? Mm. And Gideon appears on the screen. And he explains, like, long time no see, except in my revenge fantasies where I see you on an hourly basis. It's like, Gideon, you need therapy.
He's more than that.
I know. So then Dipper tries to be the big man and say, you're controlling Bud. And Gideon's like, okay, and you've been controlling Stanford. And he congratulates them on being more evil than the last time they saw him. Mm-hmm. To which he forces Bud Gleeful to grab the kids, carry them over to an elevator on top of the mayor's memorial, and to tie him up inside the memorial that's filled with fireworks.
The nasal cavity.
Yes. And then Gideon says that he's going to finally rule this backwoods town with them out of the way. He just has to finish being the best in the debate. And Mabel says that he's never going to get away with this and calls him a creepy little dork. And Gideon's like, you know what? I'll spare you if you agree to be mine. I even made you this wedding dress in crafts class. And it's like a torn up, kind of white, kind of gray, half bandaged, half stitched dress. And says, don't ask what it's made of. And
which is gross already.
It's very gross. And Mabel just says she'd rather die and calls him a creep again. And Gideon says, fine, have it your way. They'll hit the plunger for the fireworks display once I win this debate. The mountain's construction will be complete and you'll be trapped inside. And he says, like, I've been trapped in concrete, behind concrete all summer. Now you see how you like it. And then goes on to say hello to the next mayor of Gravity Falls kids, and evil laughs. I also like the way that he says that, because, like, what about Pool Kid? What's Pool Kid up to?
Just chilling.
Just waiting.
Probably quite literally. It does show a whole year of him just like, oh.
Yeah, but then they cut back to the debate, to which Stan is saying the worst thing he could ever say. He says that the Statue of Liberty is our hottest landmark. When everybody boos, he goes, all right, she's kind of mannish. What do you want from me? And they continue to just throw the bird seed into Bud Gleeful's box. And Stan grabs paper and starts wiping his forehead, and he's like sweating. He's like, he realizes he's dying out there without the twins' help. And he says, like, they were right all along. I should have listened to them when he had the chance. And then he kind of hears Mabel screaming for help. And Stan's like, what? And looks around to the mountain. And Dipper shouts that they're tied to a bunch of fireworks. And yeah, when they try and jump out of it, they end up breaking the rock that was underneath of them, keeping them in place. And now they're just hanging from the nose, screaming with the rope, clearly breaking very quickly.
Like a big old snot string.
And Tyler Cutebiker screams and points to the twins hanging, and everybody is like looking up and freaking out, to which Stan goes into grunkle mode and goes like, you know what? It's over. I'm going to go save my family. And Bud's like, oh, they're just demolition dummies. Like, nothing to see here. And Stan's like, can it? So Stan goes ahead and rips off his sleeves of his jacket and yells, runs backstage, and starts climbing up one of the towers near the memorial. And everybody's like watching him in anticipation and moving to watch Stan. And Chandra begins narrating everything. So she goes off to say, in a shocking turn of events, Stan Pines has run to the aid of 2 children who appear to be in danger. Like, I think it's so funny that she phrased it appear to be in danger when it's 2 kids hanging from a memorial by a single rope. And
she's not wrong. It does appear for them to be in danger.
And then everybody, seeing that Stan is going to save him, starts filling his box full of birdseed and says that the crowd is loving it.
Well, they're also throwing birdseed at him.
Yeah, like, he starts freaking out.
It's like, come on, guys.
Because the eagles start to fly down and mess with Stan because they throw the seed at him. And he's like, oh, get back, you terror birds, and starts punching them.
I'm surprised that didn't like have a negative reaction either.
Yeah, so then he eventually gets to the top of the tower, leaps from the top of the tower, that was a construction tower, to the nose of the memorial, and then the crowd is pointing and watching. He, as soon as he regains his balance, the rope starts to snap, and right before the rope can fall, Stan catches it and begins pulling the twins up to their safety. And Stan apologizes for being stubborn, and he said that being just a town's hero wasn't enough. He wanted to be the hero to the kids, too. To which the twins apologize and say that they should have supported him, win or lose. And Dipper is like, probably lose. And Stan goes, I can still drop you. You're not safe yet. So he pulls up the kids fully, and they're safe inside, and he hugs them, and they all laugh. And then outside the memorial, the crowd cheers as Stan stands on top of the memorial's nose with the twins on either side of him. And his box is completely overflowed with birdseed, and his approval rating is through the roof. And Bud starts to have a tantrum very much in the same fashion of Gideon, slamming his like fists on the floor and shouting no a whole time.
Well, I'm pretty sure it's Gideon still having the tantrum.
No, I said Bud's having a tantrum much like Gideon does. Because he's the body control.
It made it... Sorry, my brain translated what you said as not Gideon. Bud himself is having a tantrum, not Gideon through Bud's body.
Oh, okay. But yeah, so that's my bad. My throat also hurts, so I'm trying to...
Yeah, I think we both had like the same reaction. Was like, why did we start this without any water?
I have water that I've been sipping.
Yeah, I don't.
I have D&D later. Okay.
Puppy time.
Very shortly. Where was I? Oh yeah, so then Bud, being controlled by Gideon, decides to grab the detonator and try and like take care of everybody once and for all. And Dipper is like, we have to get out of here. He has the detonator. It's gonna kill us. And Stan says that if he's gonna die, he's gonna make. He wants the kids to make sure he has a bigger tombstone than Ford. The kids nod as Stan grabs them, jumps off the memorial. Right as it's blowing up. They all scream as they land in the huge pile of Stan's birdseed and end up unharmed by it. And the crowd is running away as chunks of the memorial start to rain down on everybody. One hits Bud and knocks him over onto the ground, and the TV crew cuts the footage. No, sorry.
It's his like live stream.
His live stream for Gideon's is knocked offline. And Gideon, in his jail cell, starts to freak out, tearing out his hair and having his full-blown tantrum, as he normally does.
Mm-hmm.
Then the timer cuts out on the debate stage, and the mayor eagle is still set free for some reason. With everything that's happening, it should not have been set free. They should have delayed this. But in any case... It settles down and gives Stan a kiss on his head.
The old smooch.
While they look at the memorial for the previous mayor that's just half molten and destroyed. And on the stage, Stan is just trying to help the kids out of the giant seed pile. And the crowd is now chanting Mayor Pines instead of chanting Stan. And Dipper's like, well, I guess we won. So then they are back at home, and they're watching the news, and Chandra announces that Stanford Pine loses. And a red banner appears over Stan's face with the word disqualified on it. And they all freak out. They're like, what? And Chandra goes, despite winning an overwhelming 95% of the vote, the election officials had to disqualify him due to the discovery of an extensive criminal record. And Stan's like, oh boy. And Mabel's like, what did you do? And he's like, what didn't I do? So they start listing off his crimes. Which one's your favorite out of this list?
There's a bunch in here. Like the first three are the first degree homicide is like okay, which I like his phrase. That llama knew too much. But looking at the list that some of the things before they shut off the TV. Telling jokes that go on and on. I mean, I have things to do today, really, as they turn off the TV. Pug trafficking is also a good one.
Yeah. Like, the early crimes are things that we knew about, right? Like shoplifting and teaching bears to drive, because we actually saw that happen in the episode. But yeah, the list is just...
the invented crime, burgle bezelment. But,
yeah, so then after she kind of goes through, she says that the only candidate who actually filled out their paperwork was local enthusiast Tyler Cutebiker. So by default, he gets to be the mayor.
Got it.
And they continue with the list of Stan's crimes and explain that that's the whole rest of the broadcast that it's going to be.
Yeah.
And Stan shuts it off and goes, you know what? They didn't even get to the bad ones. And he goes, on an unrelated topic, I have a lot of cheap pugs and I need to move them fast. So Dipper says that he thought it could have been fun to have Stan as mayor. And Stan said, you know what? I got too close to the dream, so... or I got close to the dream, so maybe it's for the best. And Mabel shows that she knitted Stan a sash that says, our hero. And she says it's not official, but, you know, it fits. And Dipper's like, are you crying? He's like, oh, I got campaign confetti in my eyes. And, you know, pretends to wipe it all. And asks if they want to go vandalize Mayor Tyler's mansion. To which they go, yeah, vandalism. And they go off screen. And then we see the credits show Gideon off. And Gideon is in his friendship making class with one of his friends that he's made in prison. And his name is Ghost Eyes, and he says, I think he doesn't say his name till after this. Oh, but he's in the transcript as Ghost Eyes, and he apologizes that the election thing didn't work out, and was like, if you want to feel better, we're going to have a riot tonight. Does somebody want to throw a riot? And Gideon's like, thanks, Ghost Eyes, but I'm just not in the mood. And then we see Gideon in bed, and he says, this poster's the only thing keeping me going. And it's like one of those cheesy posters with a cat holding onto a branch, except it says, hold on to that branch, cat, or die, cat, instead of hang in there. Mm-hmm. And he rips off the poster, and it's a drawing of your favorite character.
Yeah. Ford. No. No. Bill Cipher. I like to make a deal.
Yep. Gideon finishes the drawing. That's the end of the episode.
Mm-hmm. All right, a quick scan through the revelations and continuity. But one thing that I didn't see written here that I think is fun to mention, the spell that Gideon says is just evil spell, or spooky evil spell backwards. So yeah, the whole thing, which you mentioned, we find out the original mayor's full name and his backstory, as well. Another thing that we actually see earlier that Ford is flipping through one of the journals, and it's like one of the pages is ripped out, which we later find out is the Gideon ripped it out and hid it in his hair. Apparently, this is the first episode that Tyler's last name is revealed to be Cute Biker.
Oh. I just knew him as that for so long. I assumed we said it somewhere in an earlier episode.
We did say it in earlier episodes because it has in the transcript we keep reading.
By we, I meant the show.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, there's a bunch of different things where it's like, which we mentioned, continuity. We see Robbie and Tanbury still together. Let's see. Apparently, the death of the mayor and Bud Gleeful's bid was referenced in the cryptograms found in Dipper and Mabel's Guide to Mystery Fun, to Mystery and Nonstop Fun. I guess that's their TV show, or no, it's a book.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, so there's a bunch of little different things. Apparently, there was some like real life Twitter yes we stan like things that was going out like on Twitter in real life of people like kind of promoting it. The cryptogram at the end of this was is a working, I don't, pretty much it translates to get him but like drug out. And then at the episode's end page it says beware of whom you belittle. Big problems can start. Outwittle.
No.
But yeah, this, I will admit, watching this episode was really making me think it'd be fun next year because it is the year before the presidential election to watch election-based movies. Like, there's a bunch of like parody and like goofy ones that I don't know, would be a little bit probably lighthearted to watch and forget all the terribleness from all the sides of them yelling at each other. I was just thinking that, I'm like, that might be a little bit fun. And then I realized like a lot of these movies that are like, this is a good one, is like, it did come out in like mid 90s, late 80s, so it's like, don't know how well it aged, but yeah. I remember hearing about a few of them. I think there's one called Election, which is, I think that's what it's called, which it's like pretty much class election, but it all like for high school. And it's taking like real like political, like real political practices and stuff, but like puts it in the theme of a school class president voting thing.
Okay.
So I heard good things about it. I don't know. I think that one came out in like the mid 90s. So
yeah, you might just need to do a personal review to see if any of the jokes went to bed.
Yeah. But that literally won't be for another year. So if we want to do that. But the only other thing was when I said Battle Royale, you mentioned Fortnite. I was talking about the Japanese movie when they go and take all the kids and throw them on an island and make them fight.
I mean, like, I could have also...
Yeah, which Hunger Games would be, like...
Well, I was going to say Fortnite is essentially just a bunch of kids, just virtually a bunch of kids, dropped off on an island to fight for their lives.
Yeah. It's, I did watch the movie, and then I read the comic, and I'm like... And it's been a while, so I'm like, I don't remember if anything was cut out or not. I know it's on Tubi, because I was looking it up while we were talking, but it was like, huh. There's some things that kind of make sense why they don't leave that in, but now it's been so long that I don't remember what got left in and what didn't. So I am not going to. I do remember it was an interesting movie, but it's also been like over 10 years since I watched it, and we know how well that works for me. But yeah, we're 6 episodes left now.
Wow. So then, I guess, do you want me to start with one of the characters? You can tell me.
Oh yeah, I totally forgot about that. Yeah, what is your favorite character?
What is? Who is?
Both. Yes. Is it the Statue of Liberty?
She is the hottest monument we have.
A little mannish.
Let me think. So when it comes to the characters, I think I like Tad Strange. He's so normal.
I like bread.
He's like, they were like, everybody in this town is weird except for that guy, but he's like so normal. He is weird.
He is the weird one. Yeah.
How about you?
He's such a good. He's a good one. Trying to think. I don't know, the American dude cracked me up because I could picture him as some people I know in real life. But I'll write the American. It would either be between Ted and the American dude, whatever his name is. I'll go with American Man.
I don't think they gave him a name. I think he's just America guy.
Yeah. Let's see. Transcript real quick. Did I scroll too far? Manly Dan. American dude.
American dude.
So, who are you most like?
I don't know this episode.
American dude?
Yeah, I totally have a bald eagle tattoo on me.
Revealed, guys. Confirmed. That was the whole point of this podcast. 2.5 years doing that.
Because, like, I can see small parts of me in more so the beginning for Grunkle Stan, where he's like, I do so much, but because I just do so much, I feel, people are just like, oh, he'll take care of it without really being thankful of it. So I can kind of relate to that in some ways in certain groups I've been in. But, like, the rest of Stan's journey in this, not me at all. There's no reason for me to be in the public eye for anything, let alone to run for mayor and put myself through all of that. Dipper and Mabel, more controlling than I'd ever be. Like, I understand, but the way for their solution was too out there for me. I would have never imagined anything like that, or couldn't imagine myself doing it.
Guys, that's what she does outside the podcast. She yells at me. She sends me death threats. Like, better do it. Better do it now.
Seuss is barely there. Wendy is barely there. Candy is barely there. Tyler Cute Biker is barely there. I'm not Bud. I'm not Gideon.
You're not in jail?
I don't think so. That's bunny jail. That's not real jail. In my background.
It's okay. That will be cut out when I edit this episode.
Oh, okay. I won't even be in the shot. Yeah. Oops. Because of the borders. I guess I would be... I think I'm Ford. Because Ford is so... Not necessarily that, like, I'm a crazy inventor, but that Ford just wants to be on his own road, that he's like, oh, okay. How about this?
And he's like, whatever, kid.
Whatever works for you, as long as I get to, like, do what I'm gonna do, and I don't have to get dragged in, then, like, here you go.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm gonna put for myself. How about you?
The dynamite. The fireworks. I want to be the fireworks. No. I am going to say Sandra Imez, however you say her last name.
Do you cry when you get excited that
I don't
you can
cry.
report on things?
I don't cry, but I do get happy when it feels like actual things of importance are being communicated. Which
it's finally happening.
Yeah, it's like, okay, we're not like just doing like, whether it's the news, whether it's people, whatever. They're not doing fluff anymore. They're not just like trying to hide the thing. It's like, this is the story. Here's the facts as we know it, and all that stuff. And it's like, I can understand her reaction to that, especially if a whole bunch of people aren't. So
she's stuck with all this like news that's not news, and
yeah.
she's like, finally I get to, it's real, it matters.
Some people wait a lifetime. So, but yeah. I don't know. Like, because this is the same thing. All the main characters, I don't really connect with at all. Like, I was thinking about it there because it's like I hear so many jokes of like when people get older, they wake up and it's like, my everything hurts. And I'm like, I haven't gotten to that yet. I feel like I need to knock on wood now, but it's like I think the worst like pain I had is when I had the Charlie horse in my leg, and it was so intense that it literally felt like I could feel the muscle like like ripping off my bone. I'm like, stop! I'm awake. I'm awake now. And then as soon as it stopped, I'm like, oh my gosh, and passed back out. Not a pain. It was just like I was just also tired. I'm just like bedtime again, and then I was late for work. So, but yeah, I don't know. Anytime I wake up, not feel like back or something hurts, like I did this to myself. I know what I did. But that is the end of the episode, everybody. We will be back. Keep an eye open for book fair, whatever we're calling it. I just keep going to book fair because that's what it was called on the Charity Palooza event. So yeah, that is it. Hope you all have a good night and a better tomorrow. It sounds like I'm ending my stream. So yeah, we'll be back with another episode next week. So till next time, bye bye.